Hey everybody, Spanky the Hero here, and we're doing some Kerbal Space Program. So, long story short, I had some issues with my mic while I was recording, so this is all going to be like post-production recording, but I'll kind of cover the same stuff that I kind of remember talking about. So I've recorded a ton of stuff so far, three different runs of Kerbal Space Program. This is actually going to be the fourth, and I haven't posted any of them yet, just because I don't know, they just never really came out right. The editing, all that stuff didn't come out right. So I just kind of decided I'm gonna do a session of Kerbal Space Program, go through career mode, and then kind of post everything up, edit it. Like you can see here, Game Night 3.0 is my last one, and the Sandy game is my sandbox. So we're gonna start with Game Night 4.0. We do career mode, and yeah, that's pretty much a synopsis of it. I mean, I've recorded a lot of stuff. Minecraft videos, assorted other games. XCOM is one that I'm currently starting to play. I just picked that up during the winter sale. But yeah, so let's get back into what we got going on here. And I'm trying to pick out a flag. There's a couple that I like. I mean, it's hard to narrow it down. As far as like everything goes, it's always been, as you'll see, I'll pick the old standby. One thing I did want to look at while we're doing it this way is I wanted to kind of go through a little bit of a mod list of some of the stuff I'm using, why I'm using it, and what my plans are from here on out. So let me get all that pulled up. Alright, so, basic stuff here. Kerbal Space Program, if you haven't played it yet, we're on, this is 023, so we're playing career mode. And one thing that I've realized at this point was that I felt like I was missing something. And it turns out that I was missing the mission control plugin. I was really looking forward to using that mod. I've used it a little bit in the past, but I figured I haven't really tied it together with career mode. So I'm gonna go put that on real quick. And there we go. You can see some of the icons showing up. So now we got at least some missions to do. Later on, I'll grab a few more mission packs and we'll kind of just play around between the two of them. Some of them, I think I put like 4 of them total on, just because with the career mode, it's hard to get the signs to get the parts that you need. And this stuff is fascinating. So there's research that they have available. Each one of these has a benefit, but it actually costs like real science. So you can see all these different ones here. One that was really interesting was the recycling. You can't actually recycle the ship until you have the recycling research complete. So that was a bit of a bummer. Originally, I spent a lot of money on ships and did not get anything back because I didn't get the recycling. But once I got that, we were in a much better place. But with that being said, we're going to go pick out a mission here. Now, the stock pack has some pretty good stuff. It's just real basic things. You can see like the Sputnik 1 is what we're going to start with. And we're basically construct a rocket to get to an altitude of 70,000 kilometers. And we just require one part, the Communicatron 16. Now, I don't know if I start with that or not. Let's just find out real quick. Actually, while that's going, let me pull up everything here. So you saw the toolbar mod that I'm playing with right there. Ties into everything. We have Ferrum Aerospace, which you can see in the bar there, as well as the Keythane mod. I do have the B9 Aerospace pack. I was a huge fan of their stuff, and I just really couldn't not get it. I believe I have Quantum Struts installed. I know it's an older version. I don't know if I've updated that yet. That might be something that's worth adding on later on. I did add extra planetary launch pads to go with the Keythane mod. That way we can build one of my secret projects later on. Well, I guess I really can talk about it. I do plan to build like a actual mooner base where I can launch ships from the moon, or at least an orbit around the moon. I figure that would be a cool way to do things. As I mentioned, Ferrum Aerospace, I have that installed. Some pretty cool stuff there. The Kerbal attachment system is installed. I believe it's outdated once again, so I don't think anything is showing up for career mode, which is something I'll get in there. Procedural fairings I have installed. If you haven't used that yet, you'll see it later on. I'll start using it. I also have the Cosmos pack. You may have seen it from the flags. It has a lot of cool stuff involving like mostly space station, I would say, and orbital construction kind of stuff. KW Rocketry, another one that was probably showing up in there. I'm also using MechJeb. MechJeb's a pretty cool mod. I'm not using it. When I start using it, I'm originally just kind of using it for delta V calculations because I'm lazy. And, well, I guess that really sums it up now, doesn't it? Just because I was lazy. We're just about finished with this construction here. I'm just going to throw a bunch of, I see here, tanks. 4 tanks and a liquid-fueled engine. And fire it up. Just to see if we can get ourselves some altitude. That's kind of the important thing, is just attempting the launch. Kind of play around the beginning. I really don't do any math or anything. I just slap something together and try to roll with it. And treat it like that's how the Kerbals are doing everything. As far as mods, I also have Nova Punch. I don't know if you've seen Nova Punch before, but that's pretty cool, I guess. What else? And as you can see, I'm using Jebediah too. I'm pretty much using him to start off the program. Plug-in data for, what is this one? Romfarer. So this is docking cam. Awesome mod. Love docking cam. And what's the other thing? Trigger tech. So I got the Kerbal alarm clock as well. And that's pretty much the core of everything. I don't think I missed anything. Just kind of glancing over. But I'll have all this in the description as well. I may have some stuff added in later on. So I'll, of course, update as we get to it. We go doing some cheap science. Getting rid of an old... in this game, I had a Game Night 4.0 that I was recording and kind of failed, so it still had a clock on there. Well, let me rephrase, I didn't fail. I had some major bugs with keythane and stuff, and ended up just like getting rid of it right before. And I'm like, I'm gonna do a nice clean start, and here we go. So first launch is up. We're gathering some data from science. Crew reports are great for starting off, just because I think crew reports and EVA reports are 100% return on transmission. There are a few things that are close, but at least that way you get the 100% data. You don't need to collect it and keep it. And I also believe that crew reports you can only keep one anyway, so it makes sense to transmit it. But we also have to keep an eye on power. Power is going to be an issue until we get some other stuff here. Oh, starting to turn right over. And we're going to swing it back. Not too bad. Just have to work with the momentum a little bit there, and beautiful. Right back on course again. We'll go up a little bit higher. And slowly climbing, accelerating. Actually, we're accelerating pretty good, so I guess I can't complain too much. Still going. Now we're going to do a nice easy turn. There we go. Now, also worth noting, this is my first time playing with Caerer Aerospace, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm really not familiar with either and how it's going to work. And I believe that was one of it. We're so low in the atmosphere when I was trying to make a turn like that with, I believe, only just the torque. And I didn't remember if that had vectoring. I think that engine has vectoring. So a little torque and vectoring, and we went flying right over. Collecting a little bit of data. Don't know why I didn't just transmit that. Was that crew? I've got to pay more attention. I'm kind of just thinking about what I was thinking about thinking at the time that I was thinking, and I'm screwing myself up. So here we go. Yeah, we go. I send it. Good, good, good. I'm watching my power, because that's going to be an issue. And look at that. We made our goal of 70,000 without too much of an issue. Once we get over 70,000, once we actually leave the atmosphere, we're free to kind of do another crew report. We can do an EVA before flying straight back down. Just going to be lots of fun. So at this point, I'm doing all sorts of science that I can really just instantly transmit. I don't have to worry about hanging on to. I have to worry about power for transmission, which will definitely be an issue. There's some beautiful science. And we're going to go through and crew report and transmit. And of course we ran out of power. How wonderful. So what do? Run the engine, see if we can generate enough juice. Look at that. Expand out our orbit. I think I actually go for an orbit at this point. I figure, what the shit, why not? Yep, there we go. Looks like I'm going for my My special maneuver. So there's something that I do. Well, I think I'm going to attempt it here. I usually try to keep maintaining like my Apo apps. Like I'll watch. This time I'm not really doing it because it's just get up towards Apo apps and burn kind of situation. But a lot of the times, what I'll try to do is maintain speed just prior, like the last 10 seconds before Apo apps, and maintain that 10-second window. So, meaning if I'm burning pretty much completely lateral, you'll watch like your Apo apps, you'll catch up to it, no problem. I mean, there's not much you can do about it. But if you pitch up a little bit, maybe like 5-10 degrees, maybe a little bit more depending, it'll push Apo apps a little bit up higher, and I'll kind of balance out there. And I'll just try to float around Apo apps. Yep, there we go. We're coming down. And we have no electric charge, so we're really not going to be able to turn it all. See, yeah. Coming in now. Well within the atmosphere. At least save what power we can generate when I run this engine. Which isn't going to be much. Let's see what we do here. Oh, starting to turn over a little bit. Hit a little bit of atmosphere. A nice little death spin going on. Pretty much using any power I generate just to stabilize a little bit. Oh, there we go. And we're pretty much out of fuel. Now we got our chutes deployed at this point. It's a little darker than I was expecting, but that may be just a video I have here. I'll have to check it out once it gets up on YouTube. Come on, baby. How we doing? So this is at the point where I realize major problems. And our chutes are broken, and we have just killed Jebediah Kerman. Well, Jebediah Kerman has crashed. Alright. Well, we got some science, so let's see if we can do anything with it. Okay, I got some basic components here. One big thing, of course, being the goo. The mystery goo is a great piece of equipment. I use it on every mission once you get it, just obviously because you want to collect science. There's no reason not to collect science. And with that, I'm going to have a sip of tea. So this design was shit. I mean, that's pretty obvious that it was shit. But we have decouplers now. We can actually build some proper staging. And I usually use this decoupler because it has a little bit more mass, and I believe it's a little bit more cost too. But it has it's a lot stronger. It's able to have a higher impact or whatever the hell it is. It's got a lot more. It's a lot stronger. Let's just leave it at that. So the advantage of having something that's a lot stronger is I can actually push a lot more thrust against it without it breaking or jostling any. So that works out well. It's worth the cost in my eyes. I mean, I don't think I have any issues at all, but still ready for the giant SRB. Beautiful, but not quite practical. So we're basically gonna need to build a ship that can accomplish a mission. Now we haven't grabbed another mission yet because, well, we crashed. So we're still stuck on, technically, that same mission. It was a failure. So we're going to build a ship that's going to hopefully not break the bank. Just doing a little bit of a comparison here for efficiency. Efficiency, thrust, and cost are pretty much the three things that I'm really looking at. Not much else. Vectoring, I can give or take in most cases. I can kind of get by at this stage with torque alone. And then once I actually get to the point where I have control surfaces of some kind, we can do something different. These big SRBs are pretty nice. Overall, they work pretty well. Like it's between this and the stock, the little guy. I call it the Bullet because I'm typically putting this Mark I capsule on top of it, and it looks like a freaking bullet. And that's actually most of the time when I play, that's what I actually start with. And then this time I decided to go with a liquid fueled start, and that was a terrible idea. just because of the dry mass. Let me trace that. The amount of fuel tanks I needed to actually accomplish the mission ended up giving me a lot more dry mass than I originally wanted. And that's going to just cause tons of issues. So we got to just move my little bars around a little bit. And slowly going up. And you can see the ship value, how it's in red right now. That it's showing you basically what if the ship recovered at this exact moment with this amount of fuel in this condition, how much money you would get back from it. And it's funny too, because if you compare the value of this ship when you build it to when you end up on the launch pad, you watch it, it immediately drops in price. Like it shows you the full price and it drops a little bit. Not a lot, but it's kind of like that concept of like once you buy a car and take it off the lot, you lose like a grand off of it or a percentage or whatever the saying is. I don't know. I don't sell cars. My brother-in-law does that, not me. But you can see it just immediately loses value. It's like, shit, just lost some money. But here we go. We just dropped the SRB, and we're doing a very drastic gravity turn, just because, yeah, just SRBs and spinning out are big issues. There, where are we at? Slowly getting up there. Just keeping an eye on all of our resources here. And once again, I remember, hey, I don't need like an info drive or something. I have the actual mission control window. It tells me where I'm at. So, right now we're still in the upper atmosphere. We'll wait till there we go. We're actually out in space now. Get our EVA going. Alright, hop back in there, Bill. Transmit the EVA data. This time I get smart and leave my actual window open. Alright, come on, dude. I should do a crew report typically at this point, but I don't remember. Do I attempt to go for an orbit on this one? No, I think this one I realize I'm just so far out there that it's not a good idea. The SRB definitely gave us a lot of vertical velocity. Not so much. We weren't able to achieve so much. Alright, at this point we're doing everything in 4 times speed. Just to speed things up a little bit, because, well, all we're going to do here is kind of go up, try to check science, see where things are at. I mean, there's not too much to do. Yep, and now we just pretty much shoot to the top of our orbit, do some science high above Kerbin, grab the data, and then drift ourselves back down. Get some beautiful re-entry effects here on this one, and drop the fuel tank. Coast ourselves down. And beautiful. The chute deploys. We're in good shape. And right back into 1 times speed. So there we go. We completed the mission. We're going to try to do an EVA out here, collect some cheap data, like a sample of water, and of course an EVA report floating in the water. But I have a little bit of trouble trying to get back into the capsule because the door landed on the bottom. So, what else would you try to do but to flip the thing? How could we flip the thing? Well, we could try jumping on it. I mean, don't have too much luck. I get a little bit of practice with this though, so don't worry. You see how we got close, and bam, there we go. But it still leaves us on top and not inside. Or not by the door. A couple jumps to flip it. Didn't quite do the trick. Maybe if I had a little bit more electric charge, I could have just used the torque to rotate it before I, jumped out. But I can't really get close enough to the door to let me in, which is I don't think it's really a problem. But either way, it's the other option I had, of course, is trying to push it to shore, which you can see is not working out as well as you may imagine. Like, I definitely got behind it. It reminds me of the old get out and push methodology I used to do. But at least I could store my science stuff in there, so that's fine. That's the data's at least stored. And what else would I do but, grab some more data? Not going to be worth much, but it's something. Every little bit helps at this point. So there we go. It's 11 signs just from us grabbing shit out of the water. So let's go recover the ship. And there we go. 56 science. Beautiful. We have 56 science. We got some dough from doing the mission. I think that was a good, successful first set of missions. Jeb is MIA right now, but Bill was able to follow in his footsteps and keep the program alive. So it leaves us with 103 science to kind of work on next time. Wrap it up here, just because, well, there's other stuff we could do. But there's really no sense in jumping right into another one right now. We're already a little later in than I wanted to be. So pretty much, yeah. Let's pick out our mission, which is probably going to be the Sputnik 2. I mean, there's not much else we could really do here. So we'll grab this one. We just got to basically achieve an orbit. A very crappy orbit is minimum requirement. As long as we're out of the atmosphere and not too far out. So we're pretty good. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time.